Hello, welcome to another episode of Real Estates. I am your host, Motsunrayo, and today we'll be touching a very important topic. Over time, we've been having questions, debates here and there about this particular topic. You know, real estate is so wild, it's so broad, and that it affects both the people in Nigeria, also the people in diaspora all over the world. So now today our topic we'll be discussing advising our clients in diaspora to build a house to let or to buy a land. In other words, you can also call it land banking and build to let. So today we have our guest here as usual in person of Surveyor Akinwumi Aweyode. Sir, we would like to ask you, can you give us a quick background check on the difference between land banking and build to let?
Thank you so much for having me. It's another good week. So, like you said, I like the introduction of your topic for this week. You are trying to advise our clients, both in diaspora, most especially in diaspora. Maybe it is good to buy land and keep, which is land banking, or to build a house, maybe a couple of flats, and let them out to make passive income, like they used to say. So, there's no right answer, yes or no, but as you have asked that, you get a big background to it. So, in the general overview, land banking is just the heart of you buying land in growing area where you have all your indices showing that in the nearest 2 to 5 years, this land is going to come up in this estate, residential or commercial, and you can make profit from it. So just as you take your money to the bank and keep it there for the rainy days. So we are now taking away the commercial or monetary bank there and putting land. So it's an act of buying land, keeping it either for future use as a residential, commercial, majorly for profit in real estate terms. So that is land banking. On the part of build to let is basically you buy building flats, houses, chalets, duplex, basically to make rent. In the Nigerian scope, it is once a year mostly that you collect rent. So the basic background to it is that build to let also profits both the economy and the person doing it. It profits them in the way that it reduces the housing deficit in the market, a situation where if everybody keep land, who is going to build the house where you and I is going to stay? So you came from a house today, I came from a house. If all those houses were bush, where are we coming from? We're coming from the jungle. So they both have their pros and cons. So to give you a general overview, it's just that small answer that I can give.
Thank you so much, sir, for shedding light on that. So moving forward, sir, I would like to ask you, from the investor's point of view, what are the advantages and disadvantages of land banking and build to let?
Okay, I'll take land banking first.
Okay.
The advantage is enormous, but I'm going to list a few. I'm just going to list a few of them. Okay, land banking. What are the advantages of land banking? Okay, just now, I'm coming from one of our developments. If you are buying land to keep, what you're actually doing is you are keeping a value for the future.
Correct.
One of the advantages is that it lets you hold a piece of the heart in your hands. You are not technically putting it in your hand, but you are holding something to your name. I've seen situations whereby land being purchased for 200,000 as far back as 1978, 1980 something, 1990 something. It's being sold for ₦1 billion today. You could say the value of naira depreciate over time, blah, blah, blah. But you can't tell me that 200,000 naira in 1978 is equivalent to 2 billion naira today. So the value, one of the advantages is that it lets you generate a huge sum of money in the future. You can leave it as an inheritance for your children. Even the Bible says that a wise man leaves inheritance for his children. So land banking lets you hold a piece of the heart to your name. One, it gives you profitability in the future in form of capital gain. Two, it lets you pass something on to your generation coming. And also it lets you, another advantage could be over time, even while keeping this land, you could be using it for a lot of things. Farming, warehouse, anything, and so on and so forth. That is some of the advantage of land banking. On the part of the build to let, the first advantage I would say is that it gives you passive income. What do I mean by passive income? I put 100 million naira in a building, 4 flats. If I divided that, 4 flats, 25 million. And I'm making maybe 500,000 every year from rent. Is that a good investment or not? Is a conversation that does not end. But as we speak, it gives you passive income. Passive income is income that keeps coming. You can say, okay, in January, I will get so amount of money. Unlike in land banking, your money is just put there as an asset fixed. But in flat to let is a passive. You have the money, capital fixed, invested, and you make money over time. 1. 2, like I said the other time, you are solving part of the housing problem. If everybody is keeping land, who is going to build the house you and I will be? Who's going to build the school for our children? Who's going to build the hospital? Who's going to build the petrol station? Who's going to build all this infrastructure, churches, mosques, banks? So we can't leave the whole city in the bush by doing land banking. Another advantage is that build to let, apart from the fact that it generates passive income, it also helps the development of the city. It develops the city, community growth. 3, it can also help you to have something like a collateral for the bank. There are somebody like a businessman. Okay, if you have buildings, you can use them as collateral to get loans. So the benefit is enormous, like I said, but I will just mention it for the purpose of this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the broad explanation. We all know that there is nothing with an advantage that doesn't have disadvantage.
True.
So on this note, I would like to ask also, sir, with the economic situation of Nigeria, to be precise, presently,
Yes.
and we have so many clients in diaspora looking to invest in land, basically land banking. Now, sir, which is much more profitable between land banking and build-to-let for a client in diaspora?
Okay, very good. You have put a good cross to answer your question perfectly. This is a debate that could go on and on and on. And to close the remark, I will put an end note when I finish my speaking. I will make sure I cut it straight short. Okay, I'm in diaspora and my name is Mr. Hay. I knew that I'm going to be in US for the next 10 years. I'm not coming to Nigeria. And I have 20 million naira for me today to pack away with. For my own professional experience, which I've gathered for more than a decade, professional and educational experience in this field, I would choose land banking. Why will I choose land banking? 5 years, 10 years goes really fast if you are not in Nigeria. You are not going to feed the land. You are not going to water it. You are not going to service it. You are not going to get tenants. You are not going to market anything. You are not going to do any repair. Because as much as the build to let will give you a passive income, which is debatable, I will get to that point. You will still need to service it. I will get to that point as well. So land banking is you just putting your money in the land, doing the necessary documentation, securing the land, and that's you. And I've seen land from 20 million going to 100, 20, 50, 80, 90, 120 million in 5, 6, 7 years. The only point you need to know is understand where the majority of the people are heading towards. Get them before then, buy enough land, do your documentation, and wait for them. 5 years goes really fast, like I said, if you live abroad. So for people living abroad, I will choose land banking for them. 1, it's less stressful. 2, it doesn't take anything from you continuously. But like I said with the clause of you won't get anything until you actually say, probably if you are using it to lease to people who do farming, but you are just not going to get the value of the land, but maybe you just want somebody to be on it, for example. So why did I say land banking? I will use the build to let to contrast it so that you get my point. If you are doing build to let, okay, let's say Mr. Hay, who is in America, has 100 million, he bought 20 million, he bought land. Mr. B also has 20 million, and by the virtue of wherever he is living, he could build, which is not possible anyway. He could build a house without 20 million as well. Let's say he could, in quotation. Okay, if the bungalow is ready or whatever house he has, he needs to put tenant. First year, he will market the place. Anything that starts from the second, third year, that will be repaired, that will be calling from his pocket. So, and in Nigerian scope, it is the value of the land that appreciates, not the value of the house.
Oh.
If you have a small piece of house like this in a very lucrative estate, you're going to sell it more because of the value of the land in that place. People don't necessarily want to buy that your house. They need your land. They can take a need that house. So you are going to continuously spend money on repairs, damage, water, this, blah, blah, blah. And you live in the West. For example, in America, even if you are making 2 million naira rent a year, how much is that to United States dollars? But it now boils down, the closing mark will now be for me, this 20 million that Mr. A and Mr. B has. What is their own target? What do they really want to get from this 20 million? Can they pass away with 20 million for 5-10 years without any problem? Do they want to put this 20 million down and be getting something every year from it? If the answer is getting something every year, no matter how cheap, then they go for build to let. But if it is me who has 20 million and I can part away with it 5 to 10 years without any problems, you do land banking. But above all, land banking will yield more results, in my experience, exponentially than the other one.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. I think this is no longer a debate. I mean, it's not like a case of an rhetorical question. So would it be land banking or build to let? Now, that will bring us to our next question, sir. In your own word, with over 10 years of experience as an estate surveyor, sir, what would you advise, land banking or build to let, still for a client in diaspora?
For a client in diaspora, I would say land banking. Why? I will just use another coin that has not been mentioned again. Okay, I'm Mr. A again. And I have access to 20 million today. And I live in America. And I'm looking at myself that in the next 10 years, I want to retire. Maybe probably as a Yoruba man that I am, I want to retire in Nigeria. I want to come back home. In my own experience with things I've seen in this business, if I put that 20 million naira in the right spot, with the right professional surveyor, estate surveyor that give me a good advice like Property Max Resort Limited, follow the advice, verify all documents, secure the land, I can bet you that 20 million might come back to 200 million before 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And when I'm retiring, I have cash to spend.
Sure.
But if I put that 20 million in a building today, by the time I'm ready to retire, the building will have warehouse, I will have spent more on repair, and it will not even worth half of 200 million. So that is me. As long as you are in diaspora, you are looking to generate capital intensive vehicle, or you are looking to set up a business in India in the nearest future, keep putting the money in the land and make sure that you buy certified genuine land, secure it, and do all your documents very well.
Thank you so much, sir. So moving forward, the last but not the least.
Okay.
The part. I mean, I always look forward to this part of the podcast where you always use real life experience to back up whatever kind of questions thrown at you. So in this case, sir, will you be willing to give a real life experience to back up all the points you've given us since the start of this podcast, precisely why land banking is better than build to let?
Okay. You want me to use in my own over 10 years of experience?
Yes, sir.
Because of the confidentiality of my clients,
Okay, sir.
I will not be able to mention them.
No problem, sir.
But I believe you can trust my judgment
Yes, sir.
and my review. Okay. I will call this man Mr. Bayo.
Okay, sir.
Nobody is Mr. Bayo, but I will just use Mr. Bayo as name. In 2016, I helped Mr. Bayo bought a plot of land when Katin Gate Estate was developing in Akubo, after General Gas. Mr. Bayo bought this plot of land for 8 million, about 800 square meter, because then it was sold for 10,000 naira per square meter. Today, a square meter is 160,000 or 150,000. You can do the math. Mr. Swire spent it, and I'm telling you, you can go and verify. Katin Gate Estate is at the their office. They have to just give a call, search online. Mr. Bayo cannot sell that land anything below 120 million today.
Wow.
Mr. Bayo did nothing. In a nutshell, Mr. Bayo does not even know the actual location of this plot. Because that time we were buying on paper. They'll bring out the big survey plan and they'll point to you, they'll show you your land. And the land is there doing He doesn't. The only thing Mr. Bayo hold is 40,000, which Katingate used to clear the land every year, once a year, since the year he has had it. He won't even spend 500,000 on service charge. And Mr. Bayo today, if he's ready to sell this land, I can assure you that 5 people will chase him with money today to buy it. Why? Because he put himself in the right spot for people to meet him there. And going pari passu with another, let me say, Mr. Tunde, another client of mine, who invested in build to let at the same year in Akubo area as well. Mr. Tunde, over the years, I can calculate maybe he made 1 million on his rent. Same amount of money they put, let's say. As a matter of fact, Mr. Tunde put more. Because as at that time, 8 million naira cannot be there. Mr. Tunde put like 30 to 35 million. Mr. Tunde was getting 1.2 million. 3 bedroom flat 4. 300,000 times 4, that's 1.2. Mr. Tunde got 1.2 million for like, let's say he got it for like 5 to, let's say, okay, all things being equal, he got it for like 5 years. He changed the rent and not, he said everything has made 15 million. I just even added something, not taking any charges and times that he has no clients. Mr. Tunde cannot sell his building for 15 million today. Whereas Mr. Tunde 15 million, add it to the one that he invested, that's 15 million. But he can't sell the house for 100 million today. And if he wants to sell, we need like 1 to 6 months to sell it. But for Mr. Bayo, he can sell his land in 1 week or 2. And in the real estate, they said a bird at hand is far more worth than the million. So that means the value of 1 naira in your hand today. So at all time, over the course of my experience over a decade, land sells faster if you are looking to resell. House will take time. House will need repairs. Land don't need repair. House will need, there will be a time, there will be a vacuum in the occupancy. A time that there will not be tenants, void period we call it. Fine, there could be time that you can increase the rent every 2 years. But if you are not somebody who needs passive income, you might not want to look into that angle. I mean, for cash intensive vehicle, I will advise land banking.
Thank you so very much, sir. So, judging from all the conversations since the beginning of this podcast, land banking at the long run, it's more profitable compared to build to let.
Yes.
Because in most cases, land appreciates. It's investment-wise, land is easily accessible.
Yes.
While if you build to let, you spend money. More like you spend money to keep up.
It's like doing business. You need to keep running it.
You need to keep running it.
Yes.
So thank you so very much, sir. To round up, any words of advice as a life coach, a man with so much experience, what would you like to tell youths out there?
Okay. My advice is simple. Quite simple. If you have access to enough money today, and then you have to be visionary. You have to be visionary. And because we are talking about diaspora clients, makes more sense because time goes really fast on their own side. Before you know it, 1 year, 2 years goes by. Keep buying land. If you're in diaspora, buy land, do the documentation, secure what you buy, take ownership, and wait. All you need to do is buy land and wait. Don't wait to buy land. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So in other words, land banking, build to let is an individual decision. So whatever you think is profitable to you at the long run, it is left for you to make. I mean, it's an rhetorical question. It doesn't deserve an answer. At the time, if you are considering land banking or you are considering build to let, it all boils down to whatever value it gives you at the long run. Thank you so much, sir.
I'm
very glad to have you once again.
My pleasure.
We get to hear educative yet insightful topics we discuss. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We look forward to having you on our next episode. And on that note, we're going to call it a day. And it's a wrap. Thank you so much.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks so much.